I am Chief Roland Wilson, West Mobility First Nations. I am located in northeastern BC. My nation is Daniza. Our people, the Daniza people, have been on the ground for over 13,000 years in northeastern BC. We hunted the mammoth that lived there. So we've been there. We are continuing to be there, and we plan on staying much longer. All through our territory, we have signs up all over the place about sour gas, oil and gas activities here and there. We cannot eat the fish. The image on the left is my son. That's his first fish he caught. But we caught it out of the Wilson Reservoir, and the Wilson Reservoir is contaminated with methylmercury. So all the fish in the reservoir system has high concentrations of methylmercury, and a fish this size is very unhealthy to eat. The image on the left is a female caribou. It is identified as a species at risk animal that is eating contaminated soil in a lease site that has not been cleaned up. She's dead. She died. The image on the right is a species at risk protected bison that got into a well site that was not fenced, got her head stuck under the pipes, and they had to put her down in order to get her out of there. That was a species at risk animal. We're not allowed to hunt these animals. We cannot drink the water. So what rivers, waterways that are not affected by the Wilson Reservoir and the methylmercury have coal mines on them with high levels of selenium being dumped in them. So there are signs all through the territory about not being careful not to drink or eat the fish out of the water because of the high levels of mercury that's there. The image on the right of the cabin on the edge of the bank, that's the Wilson Reservoir, and it's the sloughing that's been happening since they flooded, went to full pool on the Wilson Reservoir. They said when they first considered the Wilson Reservoir that would eventually stop. It hasn't stopped. It's been 40 years and it's still sloughing in there, and it's new debris that goes into the water every year. That cabin has since fell into the river, into the reservoir. I apologize for this, but this is what our reality is. This is a dead caribou. This is the last male caribou of the burnt pine caribou herd. And when the province issued the mining permit for the mining company to go up there, an illegal permit, because they didn't actually give them the permit, they told them to go ahead and get started and we'll get you the permit. They never did get them the permit. They went up there and built this big pit. And then when we got involved and the court case ensued, they didn't reclaim the pit. They left the pit there. And the male, there was 2 caribou left up there, and the male of the 2 got too close to the edge of the pit and fell in the pit and died. We discovered him that spring in the bottom of the pit. He fell far enough that he actually broke one of the antlers off his head there. That burnt pine caribou herd has now become extinct. There's a herd in the south end of the province called the Selkirk herd. They believe they're functionally extinct now. There's only 3 left, and they're all females. We can't hunt the caribou because there's not enough of them there. The federal and provincial governments in their recovery program are not recovering the caribou to levels of harvesting. They're recovering the levels to levels of sustainability. They want to stop the depletion or the wipeout of the caribou. But they're not curtailing development. They're not doing any recovery program of the land, rebuilding, the habitat zones that they're in. What they're doing is flying around in helicopters and shooting all the wolves and protecting the high elevation habitat, and not understanding that in the spring the caribous come out of the mountains and back down into the valleys and live in the valleys, and they're getting annihilated down there.